Hello, word nerds! Welcome to another episode of The Dictionary. My name is Spencer, and this is episode F34. This is another one that I'm going back to record because I wanted to have a guest on, and that guest, again, just like 2 episodes ago, is my wife. Again, she will probably not be on camera. We're going to do some awkward transition into that section, and we're just going to see how it goes. But before we get to that point, of course, we have to talk about some other words that I kind of know about and kind of don't know about. So, the first word. Oh, wait, hold the phone, stop the presses, hold a second. This episode is airing on November 14th, and I am recording this on November 5th, 2024. And where is it? I voted this morning for what I hope to be, oh, please, the first woman president. Oh, I just can't. Let's put this in a better position. I put a sticker on my forehead. If you're only listening to this, you should probably watch this. Oh boy, today is going to be a really interesting day, and more than likely, the next few days or a week are going to be a really, really interesting week, and I don't know if my heart can handle it. Okay, we're just gonna get that out of our head, and it's like, hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes a good way. Okay. The first word in this episode is fascination. Fascination. Noun from 1605. 1A. The quality or power of fascinating. And are we going to see, did we see that in the previous? It's been a while since I recorded that. Fascinate here, verb. Bewitching, transfixing, holding spellbound. Yes. So when I think I probably did this before. When I go like this, I am fascinating you. I am transfixing you, your gaze into my gaze. So, fascination is the quality or power of I have fascination. Now we have 1B, which is something fascinating. Just anything. It's a fascination. This podcast is a fascination. Number 2, the state of being fascinated, and also the state of feeling an intense interest in something. I have a fascination in so many things. You probably do too. What are your fascinations? Some of my fascinations, well, I've mentioned them many times before, but I'll see if I can do it again. People. I am fascinated by people, personalities, why you are the way you are. Physically, people are interesting. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, people are interesting. Fascinating. Movies, TV shows, music, sound, the list goes on and on. I'm interested in so many things, and I feel like for myself, when I was younger, I wasn't really interested in the whole school learning thing, but as I've gotten older, I'm like, wait, but I want to know about this, and I want to know about this, and there's not enough time in the day to learn about all these things. So I'm fascinated by just the world and science and math, and I mean to a certain degree, like words in English, like reading and writing, like that's partly why I'm doing this podcast, is because it's a thing that I'm not good at, words and stuff. And so I'm hoping to learn. I am fascinated by words, like I said. And so this is an interesting thing. Etymology. Oh my God, that's a fascinating thing. Check out the podcast, The Allusionist, if you want more etymological stuff. Anyway, I would like to know what your fascinations are. I'm sure I have more that I can't even think about right now. So the sound effect today is going to be frou-frou, because that's a fun sound to make. Next we have fascinator. I am the fascinator, and I'm going to fascinate you with all of my fascinations. You will be so distracted by my fascinations that you will be destroyed. So, fascinator, noun from 1750. Number 1, one that fascinates. 2, A woman's lightweight headscarf, usually of crochet or lace. Well, I guess she fascinated it. Is that one of the things about creating a thing to command the interest of a lure, to be irresistibly attractive? This scarf is irresistibly attractive. I'm a little confused. What she fastened? Ooh, maybe that's where the etymology comes from, because there is no etymology here. But fastened is F-A-S-T, not F-A. Interesting. A woman's lightweight. We can take out woman's, right? It doesn't need to be a woman's scarf. It's just a lightweight scarf, headscarf, usually of crochet or lace. And now let's look up a picture of this fascinator. And I am fascinated by what is this word? Why is this word? What's the etymology of it? Well, I'm seeing some hats, and oh, well, there's a guy in a hat that is striped, and it starts on his head and it goes around his neck like 3 or 4 times. That's a head scarf, a hat scarf, I meant to say. Okay, here's a couple of old pictures that, yeah, it's like it's a scarf that you can wrap around your head, but also your neck. And this one looks like it's crocheted, and it looks very nice. Very, like, what is this? 40s, maybe 1940s. These pictures are from. I don't know. I'm guessing. Yep, this one's crochet. Ooh, a fascinator's crochet scarf pattern for $3.49. Woo! Yeah, this one's definitely crocheted. It's got some holes in it. Interesting. I still don't know why it's called fascinator, though. Frou-frou! Next we have fascine. Fascine, F-A-S-C-I-N-E. Noun from circa 1688. A long bundle of sticks of wood bound together and used for such purposes as filling ditches and making revetments for riverbanks. What is a revetment? And how do you... something on the riverbanks. How do you pronounce that? Revetment? That's what I want to say, but I don't know. Let's see. We're going through the pages to find R-E-V-E-T-M-E-N-T. I think we're here. Let's see. I just want to know how to pronounce it, because I think that is a fascinating word. It's coming up over here. Revetment. That's what it is. A facing to sustain an embankment. Ah, yes, it's like a thing that you put up to block stuff, I guess. So they're using these sticks, this bundle of sticks called a fascine, and the etymology is not very helpful. Uh-oh, bag fell. But if I look in the previous episode, we have this fasces, which is a bundle of rods with an axe sticking out of it, a blade sticking out of it, and so it's probably related to that. Just put a bunch of sticks together and make ditches and make embankments. And what else do you use it for? That's it. That's all I can see. Frou-frou! Next we have fasciolaceae. I think that is correct. Let's take a closer look. Fasciolaceae. Fasciolaceae. This is spelled F-A-S-C-I-O-L-I-A-S-I-S. Fasciolaceae. This is a noun from 1890. It is infestation with or disease caused by liver flukes. Liver flukes. Liver flukes? What are liver flukes? The species name is Fasciola hepatica or Fasciola gigantica. They're so big, those things. So you are infected with these flukes of liver that are these, I don't know, are these like bacteria or virus or something? Like those species names are something like that. And then they get into your system, and then you have the fasciolaceae. I am now curious to look at the etymology because I'm not familiar with this word at all. Let's see. It is from the Fasciola, which is the genus of flukes. I don't know what flukes are. Plus Iasis, which is, well, we got the flukes coming in, a little bit later, within the next year. But maybe we can just do a quick little look. Here we go. It's it's a little fishy kind of thing, or a trematode worm, and I don't want that inside my body, in any part of my body, including my liver. No flukes, please. Don't get any flukes in your system. How do you get flukes? How do you avoid flukes? I don't know. Okay. Next we have, this is a big word. Something that I don't know a whole lot about. But so let's learn together, because maybe you don't know about it either. We have the word fascism, or just fascism, if you want to say it that way. Usually I think people say fascism. Fascism. Okay. Noun from 1921. It's kind of an appropriate word to talk about today on election day for me, because a lot of people call a certain presidential candidate a fascist, and he wants more fascism, and it would be good to know what that is exactly. So, there are two definitions, and the first one is extremely long, so let's do this. Number one is often capitalized. A political philosophy, movement, or regime, as that of the fascisti, that exalts nation and often race above the individual, and that stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, severe economic and social regimentation, and forcible suppression of opposition. Okay, well, I think it did a very good job laying all that out. I did bring up a link ahead of time that I will put in the show notes for fascism, in case I needed to go look at that. But this is a whole Wikipedia article that's extremely long, all about fascism. Let's just read the first paragraph or a couple sentences. Fascism is a far-right, authoritarian, and ultra-nationalist political ideology and movement characterized by a dictatorial leader, a dictator, centralized autocracy, militarism, forcible suppression of opposition, belief in a natural social hierarchy, subordination of individual interests for the perceived good of the nation or race, and strong regimentation of society and the economy. Well, that was enough. So let's look at the definition here in the book and break it down a little bit more, just so we can understand it. If it wasn't clear to you, maybe it was. I don't know. Skip ahead. Whatever. So exalts nation and often race above the individual. So if you don't know what exalt mean, I had to think about it for a second, but the rest of the sentence really helped. It puts nation, it puts the country and possibly a certain race of people over the interests of the individual person, and I think that's stupid. It stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader. So it wants the government to basically be all-powerful and have a dictator running that government. One person who anything they say goes, and I think this is ridiculous. Also stupid. What else? Severe economic and social regimentation. So everything is regimented. Your life, your society is regimented and designated by this dictator. They say what goes. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Stupid. Forcible suppression of opposition. So if somebody is opposing the dictator or this idea of government, then they are going to forcibly suppress that opposition, that group of people who are saying, no, we don't like this. They're going to force them down and suppress that idea, what they have to say, and all those things. Again, stupid. This is not This is not how governments should be run. You have people. There are lots of different personalities and types of people who want and like different things. So you have to be aware of that. You have to work to help as many people as possible, instead of the personalities and the ideas of one person. This is like so illogical to me. I can't even fathom. And it comes down to greediness and wanting power and feeling just that's it. And I hate it. I hate it. I do have to call out, there's a great line in the Barbie movie where the girl in school calls Barbie a fascist, and she says, "And I'm not a fascist. I don't control the railroads or anything." And I thought that was very funny. Okay, let's talk about number 2 for fascism: a tendency toward or actual exercise of strong autocratic or dictatorial control by basically one person. The example is early instances of army fascism and brutality. That is a quote from J.W. Aldrich. So I think that's enough. Fascist is a noun or adjective often capitalized, and fascistic is an adjective often capitalized. Fascistically, I think that's right. That's an adverb often capitalized. Barbie ran the railroads fascistically. No, she didn't. She doesn't control the railroads at all. Okay. Anything else? Well, we have to look at the etymology, of course. This is from the Italian fascismo, from fascio, which means bundle, or fasces, or group. Interesting. From the Latin fascis, which means bundle, and fasces, which means fasces. And if we go back to the previous episode, I think it was there, F-A-S-C, here we go, F-A-S-C-E-S. This is a bundle of rods, and among them an axe. That's the one that I meant to talk about. That's the one I talked about, yeah. So, how does this translate? The word comes from a bundle. Maybe, actually, here we go. We have an etymology section on the Wikipedia page. The Italian term fascismo is derived from fascio, meaning bundle of sticks, ultimately from the Latin word fasces. This was the name given to political organizations in Italy known as fasci or fasci, groups similar to guilds or syndicates. According to Italian fascist dictator Benito Mussolini's own account, the fasces of revolutionary action were founded in Italy in 1915. In 1919, Mussolini founded the Italian Fasces of Combat in Milan, which became the National Fascist Party 2 years later. The fascists came to associate the term with the ancient Roman fasces, or fascio litorio, a bundle of rods tied around an axe, an ancient Roman symbol of the authority of the civic magistrate carried by his lictors. The symbolism of the fasces... The symbol of the fasces suggests strength through unity. A single rod is easily broken, while the bundle is difficult to break. Similar symbols were developed by different fascist movements. For example, the symbol of phalangism is 5 arrows joined by a yoke. Now, here's the interesting thing. Like, I get that. Yes, it's stronger, blah, 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 blah. But the idea of fascism is being run by one person and not... Are you saying that, like, the one person is the blade and they're protected by the bundle of sticks, which is the people? And if the people do what the one person says, then they will be strong? But you're not looking out for the people, the individual people, ultimately. There is the symbol. The eagle perched on fasces is displayed on caps and helmets of fascist Italy. So it's this eagle looking to the side, looking all cool, and in its claws, its talons, it's holding one of these fasces. the bundle of sticks with the blade, the axe sticking out of it. So, I mean, it's right in there. And I did not know about that at all in the previous episode. Okay. What a thing. What a thing. All right, we got to move on to frou-frou. We now have fascista. Fascista, capital F-A-S-C-I-S-T-A. This is a noun from 1921, which is the same year as fascism, so I think they might be related. This is a member of an Italian political organization under Mussolini governing Italy 1922 to 1943, according to the principles of fascism. So if you are, I guess if you're a fascist, you were part of that group, specifically during that time, you would have been called a fascista. Anything else? 1922 to 1943. And, 1943 was in the middle of World War II. So I guess did Mussolini get out of power before World War II was done? Because I thought that was 1945. I don't know enough about my history. I'm a stupid head. Okay. We're done with that. I don't want to talk about fascism anymore. I am worried, other than this one thing, I guess. I am worried that if the person that I voted for does not win in the next week, then we might have a fascist government coming up. So if that's what happens, and if you voted for him, told you so? Frou-frou. Next we have fash. Fash. Verb from 1533. This is chiefly Scottish, and the synonym is vex. V-E-X. Fash, noun, also chiefly Scottish. So you're vexing, you're confusing, what are you doing? I don't know. If you're Scottish, please call me up. Tell me how do you use this? Let's see, anything in here. Etymology, vulgar Latin fastidiare, which means to disgust. From the Latin fastidium, which means disgust, and there's more at the word fastidious. Great. Fash. Did not know about that word. Okay, well now we are moving on to our last word, which is frou-frou. Fashion. F-A-S-H-I-O-N. It's the first form, and this is where I will bring in my wife to talk about fashion. Sharon, thank you for joining me. How's it going?
It's going okay, Spencer.
Are you ready to talk quickly about some fashion?
I am.
All right. We have the first form of the word fashion. As I think I said before, this is the last word in this episode. It is a noun from the 14th century, and we have 1A, to make or form of something? To make or form of something. Well, that sounds weird. To make. Okay, I don't like that definition, but it's basically making something. That's what it is. It's the make. The make or form of something. That makes more sense. Okay, 1B. This is archaic. The synonyms are kind and sort. 2A. A distinctive or peculiar and often habitual manner or way, as in, he will, after his sour fashion, tell you. That's from Shakespeare. Peculiar or often habitual manner. So the way he does a thing, like that's your fashion. What's your fashion? How do you do things? Your manner or your way.
What is my fashion?
Yeah.
Are you asking me what style?
No, it's your distinctive habitual manner. Like not about your clothes, but like it's just your way. Is there something about you that's like your distinctive way you do things in life?
Why don't you tell me? You would be a better judge of that, I think.
One of your fashions would be tidying up.
That is very accurate, because as we are sitting here recording, I noticed that on top of our record player, we had some Halloween decorations out there, and I took some of them down, and I can see the way the light is shining on it, that there is dust, a lot of dust on top of the record player, but not in the spots where the decorations were. So it's even more obvious. And I'm like sitting here trying not to just say, okay, I got to go dust that really quick. But I'm also very much really excited to finish this up so I can go dust.
All right, let's do it. We've got 2B, mode of action or operation, as in assembled in an orderly fashion. We like things in an orderly fashion. 3A, a prevailing custom, usage, or style. A prevailing custom, okay. 3B1, the prevailing style during a particular time, like dress. Like, what is the prevailing style of that time? That's the fashion of the time.
And it always comes back around.
Yep, it comes back around, but it's also temporary. I think Grandpa Simpson was like, because that was the style of the time. That was the fashion of the time. 3B2 is a garment in such a style as in always wears the latest fashions. Do you think you wear the latest fashions?
I think so, but the latest fashions right now, I think, are 80s and 90s and 70s. Honestly, right now, there is a lot of wide leg pants, which I would say is very 60s and 70s. There's also a lot of structure, big shoulders. I mean, I just bought that jean vest when we were in Paris that has huge shoulders.
Yeah.
Not something I would normally wear, but I really liked the shape of it, and something about it spoke to me. So I purchased it, and I'm very happy with my purchase.
Yeah.
And that is very 80s looking. And there's also, I've seen like a lot of like different jean colors, like the stonewash, the ice wash, which I think were very 90s. Yeah. I've seen a lot of that recently. A lot of cropped tops, a lot of high-waisted pants with like crop tops, a lot of neon colors. So yeah, we've got like everything right now from I think the 60s to the 90s.
And I remember like back in high school, like in the 90s or something, I would like look back and like in the 20th century, the 1900s, you can very clearly see a style in the clothes for every single decade. Pretty much you can be like, that's this style, that's this style, that's this style. Every single decade had a style. And then I think when we got to the 2000s, all of that went out the window. And gradually, since probably around, the late 90s, early 2000s, just like you said, all those styles have been coming back, and you can just do whatever you want. There's no like main prevailing style across culture, at least in the US, and just like whatever you like, it's kind of all acceptable, essentially.
I think there's more like trends now. So it's
Yeah.
like, skinny jeans were the trend for a long time, and now like skinny jeans are out, and now it's like barrel-legged pants and really wide leg pants, which I love a high waist wide leg because they're very comfortable to wear.
You just bought those pants yesterday. I was like, those look very 70s. They had the big wide bottoms and the high waist, and I was like, I feel like I've seen that in many 70s movies or something.
Yeah.
Last definition officially, we have 3C, social standing or prominence, especially as signalized by dress or conduct, as in men and women of fashion. And then we have a phrase, after a fashion. Have you ever heard of this?
After a fashion?
Yeah.
No, what is the phrase?
It means in an approximate or rough way, as in became an artist after a fashion. After a rough go of it, maybe, after some training, they became an artist after a fashion. That's an interesting one. Quickly, we will look at the etymology. Middle English, façon, which means shape or manner. From Anglo-French, façon, which doesn't say what it means. From Latin, factio, which is act of making, or faction. From facere, which means to make, and there's more at the word do. So this word basically comes from the idea of creating something, making something.
Yeah, makes sense.
But I just want to quickly talk about like what's your history with fashion and style and why, what?
Well, I've always loved fashion. I've never been able to sew. I guess I never really tried. I think my grandma tried to teach me on a sewing machine, and I had a hard time getting her sewing machine to work. And I would actually love to learn to sew. But anyways, since I couldn't sew and I wanted a job in fashion, I decided to go to college to be a fashion photographer. So that's where we met at Columbia College, Chicago. And
I remember it well.
I didn't become a fashion photographer, but I still love fashion. And yeah, that's basically it. It's I think it's a underappreciated art form. When people think of art, they think of paintings and drawings and sculpture. But everything is art. I mean, I look at the world and I see art in everything, and clothing, and how you wear clothing. Like, you can make yourself a piece of art by the way you wear clothes and style them and accessorize them. And it makes me feel good to put on clothes that, make me feel like, what am I trying to say?
A piece of art?
Well, it makes me feel good, I guess, to be able to wear something that I think is like, it's not super easy, I think, to put something together and pull it off. That's like the other thing. There's like certain things that some people can wear that you're like, wow, I can never pull that off. And then there's some things that I think you're more suited to. So being able to know like what suits you, your body, and also your personality, and put it all together and go out and like feel confident wearing this. And then like having someone give you like a compliment on like what you're wearing. Like, I just enjoy that feeling.
You get complimented on what you're wearing often when we go out. I think if somebody were to describe you, one of the first things they would say is, she has fashion, she has style, she is always, especially if we're going out to, like, not just to hang out at somebody's house, but like even sometimes then, but more like out to some sort of event, even a chill event, you're dressed up, you wear things that are artistic and look good on you and fit your personality and show your personality. And that's definitely something that I think people would say about you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I also enjoy being comfortable too. So I'm not always like that. There's very much times where I just love throwing on a pair of leggings and, like a t-shirt or something and going to the store and being comfortable. There's a lot to be said about that as well.
That, I think, is probably one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people maybe don't want to be fashionable, is because it's often not comfortable. There's that. Do you want to wear fashionable, stylish shoes at this wedding, or do you want to wear comfortable shoes? Your feet are going to hurt in the really good-looking fancy shoes, but they're going to look good.
That is true.
And so that's a balance that you have to deal with, of looking good in fashion, something fashionable, or comfortable. And I don't know how many people are making comfortable, fashionable things, but that would maybe be a goal.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay. I think, do you have any last words about fashion, or do you want to just take care of that dust?
Nope, that's about it. I like David Bowie's song Fashion. So.
Oh, and I also want to shout out Flight of the Conchords have a song also. I think it's very like reminiscent of David Bowie's song.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have to listen to it.
It's a good one. And with that, we will say goodbye to Sharon. Goodbye.
Goodbye. I'm going to go dust now.
Okay, I am back. Real quick, we did not go over the synonyms. Sharon and I did not talk about the synonyms, so I will quickly put that in here, and then we will go back to my original recording, I think, somehow. Okay, so synonyms for fashion, they are fashion, style, mode, vogue, fad, rage, and craze, mean the usage accepted by those who want to be up to date. What an interesting sentence. The usage accepted by those who want to be up to date. what are the current things and that, yeah. Okay, so fashion is the most general term and applies to any way of dressing, behaving, writing, or performing that is favored at any one time or place, as in the current fashion. I don't ever listen to the current fashion. Style often implies a distinctive fashion adopted by people of taste. They've got taste, they don't have taste. As in a media baron used to traveling in style. This media baron has some taste. Then they love traveling in style. It's not in a station wagon. No, it's in a private jet. Mode suggests the fashion of the moment among those anxious to appear elegant and sophisticated, as in, slim bodies are the mode at this resort. This one I don't feel like I hear so much. Vogue stresses the wide acceptance of a fashion, as in, short skirts are back in vogue. Wide acceptance of fashion. Lots of people are wearing short skirts. Fad suggests caprice in taking up or in dropping a fashion. Caprice, I think that's like more in the moment, sudden. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not sudden, spurge. Impulsive, kind of. It suggests sort of an impulsive caprice in taking up or in dropping a fashion. It's like, oh, I'm just going to pick up this fashion for today, and then I'm going to drop it at the end of the day. And then the next day, I'm going to pick up another one, I'm going to drop it. But we have an example. Last year's fad is over. That thing that everybody thought was cool, it was only temporary. It's dead. Let's go on to the next fad. Rage and craze stress intense enthusiasm in adopting a fad, as in, Cajun food was the rage nearly everywhere for a time. So why? They stress intense enthusiasm. So it's like a fad, but there's so much more enthusiasm behind it. It's a rage. It's a fad that has turned into a rage, but it's all temporary. So I never want this podcast to be a fad or a rage or maybe even a craze. What's a craze? Crossword puzzles once seemed just a passing craze, but have lasted. I hope this podcast is more like the crosswords. It doesn't go the way of the dodo. A synonym, in addition to all those other synonyms, is the word method. Yeah. All those. Those were some fun words. Fashion, style, mode, vogue, fad, rage, and craze. Ooh, it's a craze. Putting socks on our ears is the craze. All right, and now back to the end of the show. All right. Well, I assume that Sharon and I had a fantastic conversation, and you know what? Maybe she picked a word of the episode. That would have been a very good thing to do. So, I guess, if not, then I would like to pick a different word of the episode, which will be fashion. Maybe it's the same one that she picked. Fashion. I'm not very good with fashion. I don't fashion my clothes in a fashionable way, but Sharon does. She's so fashionable. Yeah. All right, that's it for this part of the episode. I hope you enjoyed all that talk about fascism and fashion and maybe fashionable fascists. And I'm going to now tell you about a movie that I watched, maybe two. We watched My Old Ass, Aubrey Plaza, and I don't remember the name of the other, of the one who plays the younger version of her, the current day version of her, but it's it's funny, but it's also very like serious and heartwarming at times as well. And it's a story about a woman who's going off to college, and she meets her future self, like 20, 30 years in the future. And that's played by Aubrey Plaza, and that is her old ass. And I quite enjoyed it. Anything that Aubrey Plaza does is great. And I haven't seen all of her movies. I need to see the rest of them. But yes, definitely worth a watch. And then we also watched, what's the next one on the list? You'll Never Find Me. I need to remind myself about this one. You'll Never Find Me. This sounds familiar. So I can't always come up with them. Here we go. Oh, yeah, I think Sharon put this on. Didn't even tell me what it was. So I didn't even know what the title was until maybe the end. And this is I don't even want to say anything. It's a horror kind of thriller. What does IMDb say? Yeah, horror thriller. Those are the two genres that it puts up there. And you don't just go in know nothing like I did, and you're just going to be at the edge of your seat the whole time. What is going on? I had so many questions. I was so confused, and I think that's the point. And it's just a fun. There were times where I was like, "What is happening? This doesn't make any sense." But it's sort of all part of the ride, I think. Yeah, You'll Never Find Me. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much for checking out this show. Of course, I hope we have an answer to our presidential. I hope we have a what's the word I'm looking for? I hope we know who has won the presidential race by the time this episode airs in 9 days. If we don't have an answer by now, we got big problems. But we should have an answer by now. I hope, my true hope, is that we have an answer, a definitive answer, by tomorrow morning, November 6th. I'm not holding my breath for that, though. Okay, that's it for this episode. Thanks so much for checking out this show. Until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye.